Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. And today I have a little bit of something different, as I've never talked about Mass Effect before. I did come out with a reshade preset, so this is through reshade, using ray trace global illumination and also partially ray traced reflections. And yeah, you can just apply it through reshade. It works through all three of the Mass Effect games. I'll show you the before and afters that we have here. We'll actually go in game, of course. But yeah, you can see how here you actually get and you can actually control the roughness cutoff. And so you actually get a reflection slightly on the ground from the green like door button here. And Mass Effect works really well because it's all like a lot of flat, metallic, shiny-ish surfaces. It's Unreal 3, and so it works perfectly with this. And so here you can see a giant increase in the bounce lighting that's actually happening from the light here. It's basically creating a whole bounce of light, and it naturally is sort of... here you can see I didn't have the smooth normals turned on. So smooth normals is an option where it will actually, because this seam that you're seeing here, that's my bad actually. You can hit smooth normals on the shader and it will actually smooth that out because it's actually coming up against the geometric in complexity of the model there. But here you can see now it actually reflects the sign that's here. Here you can see obviously we have a reflection here and underneath here. This is a big one. So one benefit of this is to actually get increased visibility while you're doing this, because it's actually bouncing the light around. So these like floor lights that before, these floor lights didn't really have any actual function. They look like floor lights, but they didn't really function that way. And so now RTGI picks up on that and actually bounces it around, and you actually get increased visibility while also greater visual fidelity. And so now we're in Mass Effect 2, and you can see how it's slightly reflecting the stairs here. And you can obviously see how it's blending in the character by AO is obviously, or ambient occlusion is part of this. So you can see a bit here, but yeah, I don't need to go through every screenshot. But just for, there were some people in the comments that actually got quite a few likes. A lot of people a little confused, as their main argument in the comments for the Dark Souls 2 ray tracing video was saying that, well, this is not ray tracing. The shader I was using, it's the Marty's Mod one by Pascal Gilcher, and it is reshade ray traced global illumination, and it's actually been and so it models diffuse and specular global illumination, temporally stable lighting, minimizing flickering and temporal lag. Now that's the benefit here, is that maybe this is what was confusing people. And also someone was saying that I sold out to big NVIDIA. It may have been a joke, but this actually is not running on the specific ray tracing hardware in NVIDIA GPUs. This actually can run on non-RTX cards. So if you have a 10 series card, try to run it. He says don't run it on a toaster because, well, obviously, but it is actually ray tracing. I wasn't sure why people were making that argument when that is very much so easily disproven. It is ray tracing. It is tracing rays bouncing around the scene. It's just applying it intelligently in screen space. So yeah, I don't know why certain people were getting really upset about that. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So there you go. There's the proof that it is actual ray tracing. Now, whether you like it or not, that's a different argument. I totally accept that. All right, now we're in Mass Effect 1, and let's flip it on and off to check out the ray tracing that gets added. Oh, that's the console. Wrong one. So here you can see these little floor lights. They did have some baked lighting around them, which I am using the a lot texture mod that improves the baked lighting and also some of the textures. Most of the textures were already upgraded in the Legendary Edition, but this basically updates it a little bit more. But it's not about the textures in this video. But here you can see it's picking up on the floor lights, and it actually creates like a nice little bounce of illumination that is now hitting the box nearby. And you can see more ambient shading underneath these little shelving units. And yeah, basically you can see how it basically is picking up on where you can see the baked lighting here, which actually looks really quite decent. But I would argue this actually looks quite a bit better, as it's bouncing the light onto the top here, and then it's bouncing light onto the side, which is then bouncing the light on top of the shelving unit as well. You can actually see there's a bounce of light on top of this shelving unit. So there you go. Pretty cool, pretty snazzy. But Mass Effect is quite literally the perfect game for this because of just the way that it looks. It's perfectly set up for this. And that's what I love, is it actually makes the game even more colorful, which the game was already very colorful to begin with, but now, because it's picking up on the coloring from the lights and bouncing that around, you actually get quite a bit of extra color added to the scene. And here you can see the specular, like, RT reflections. They're set to a pretty low or pretty high roughness cutoff, and so you get a little bit of sheen on the floor here, but you don't. Now you'll notice there's a cube map that they're using here. That's what the main reflection is handled by a cube map in the game, which is always a good method, frankly, very performant, and that's why they would use a cube map. Now, obviously, there are other methods of doing reflections that don't require RT. There's plenty of other methods, frankly. There's planar reflections, which is what FromSoft commonly did prior to Sekiro. In like DS1, DS2, DS3, Bloodborne, they all use planar reflections, which are actually really accurate, but they are expensive. And then you have screenspace. You have SSR, so screenspace reflections are obviously not RT based, and they're pretty decent, but they have a lot of occlusion problems. But here you get this beautiful, look at this roughness cutoff that's added from the RT here. Like, look at that. Oh my god, that's so good. Like, that's what's the meme of the monkey neuron activating? Like, because look at this. Oh my god. Because of course I had to tune. Also Mass Effect has a really annoying thing where it picks up on your mouse. The photo mode's fantastic though, because you can hide the UI and actually go around the scene, and you can see the disocclusion here behind this chair. So that was the other thing that people in the comments, there were some people that were like, oh my god, you didn't talk about the downsides of it. Were you paid for this? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? If I'm paid for something, I have to tell you. Also, I've never talked to the Pascal Gilcher guy. Also, the guy doesn't need me. He's very well known. He's super well known. Like, his shaders are the industry standard. Like, those are the ones everyone knows about. So why the fuck would he need me? And so I just was like, that's some bullshit. That's some dumb ass bullshit. Because every YouTuber goes through that at some point where they're going to get accused of being paid. And it's like, wait, so your only qualification here of your argument is that I liked something and I made a video about it. And it cost money if you want to do it. It's like, yeah, okay. And I talked about that. Like, yes, he does charge for his RTGI shader. I think it's fantastic work, and I think he deserves the $5. Look at this RT reflection here. Are you kidding me right now? Oh, let me flip it on and off. That's my bad. Yoink. Like, look at what that's adding to the scene. And you also see a bounce of light where it's actually the computer monitor screen, whatever, is actually bouncing light onto the nearby object. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. And then they were saying that, like, oh, you're arguing with people in the comments. Yeah, I was replying to comments. Apparently that is known as arguing. I just was like, I think you're wrong. Like, also, first you were saying that I was wrong, so all I was doing was saying, no, it is ray tracing. I don't know, that one did bug me a bit, because I'm just like, I don't get, and it had like 100+ likes, where I'm like, Jesus Christ, people, you genuinely, like, the amount of people that thought I was either paid off or just incredibly incorrect. Like, obviously I've been wrong multiple times. Oh, this is what I was supposed to hit. But to think that I just completely had no idea if this was ray tracing or not, I was just showing it off, like, that's just incredibly stupid. And if you And if anyone doesn't trust me, then I can't help you. Like, I'm not going to go out of I've never had an issue with, being paid or not. I've never done a sponsored video. So, like, I don't know. Those people, I'm like, go touch some fucking grass. I'm not even doing really the story on these playthroughs. I'm just... Oh, he left. Okay, he's fine. So you'll see the load screen there. That's one issue where it basically... Because that's not in-game rendering, right? That's just a video. And basically it keeps the last frame that was being rendered from the depth buffer. Ooh, by the way, that's a good thing to show. Because some people are, I think, confused with how reshade works. And I think they assume that it's like applying it to a flat image or something, when if we actually open up reshade here, let's go into photo mode. And I think this will give you a good sense of what is actually happening here. So if we actually do this, so this is display depth, which basically helps you set up your global preprocessor settings, and because you want to make sure it's basically getting the depth buffer, which is what you're seeing on the right. So it actually is sensing the depth of the game that's, whatever's being rendered. You can also see on the left, it's picking up on the normal maps. So this is what the shader is seeing. And then it's actually generating the ray traced global illumination and reflections based on this information, and then obviously a bunch of different algorithms, and it's very complex and being updated, but it is actually seeing in 3 dimensions. So I think some people were a little confused as to what was happening. That, I don't know, they seem to think that it was like fake ray tracing. It's like, well, I mean, I guess if you think it's fake ray tracing, then that's fine, but it is ray tracing. So like that is not up for debate whether it is ray tracing or not. Now whether you like it or not, that I think is worthwhile. So let's go to Mass Effect 2 really quickly. Oh, I forgot I was in this mission. Oh, let's do this mission real quick. I love this mission. Spoilers if you haven't played Mass Effect 2, but it's like an ancient ass game, so you probably shouldn't be watching this video if you haven't played Mass Effect. And if you want to, it's an amazing game series. It's one of my all-time favorites. Look at that. We get a little bit of a reflection off these lights. A lot of bounce lighting. Oh, there you go. In-game cutscenes work fine because it's being rendered, right? So the RT can actually manage that. But when it gets to any video cutscenes that are actually video files, as many of them are, and they're pre-rendered, right? They're just video files. The RT does not work on that, and it will basically show the last frame that it was applying RT to, which will not be the same frame that you're playing, or with the video. But once it goes back in game, you're perfectly fine. Yeah, let's do disruptor ammo. I did hack the mech, because of course I did. Why would I not? Also, you can see the RT reflections are moving along with the image. Whoop. Now it is screen space, so of course, is it going to be as good as a native implementation? Absolutely not. But I'd say it's pretty fucking good. It's pretty good. It's gonna cost a lot of performance, to be honest with you, but I'm okay with that. I still get like 60 FPS. So your mileage will 100% vary on that one. Man, I gotta get a better weapon. Nope, other menu. Okay, we'll go back and cover. Yeah, go back. Oh yeah, we haven't fought Jared or Carl or whatever this guy's name is. Whoop, missed. Eclipse Trooper. Yeah, I think his name is Jared, right? See, now I'm just playing Mass Effect. It's just an excuse for me to play Mass Effect. But yes, for anyone, I know my channel is all Souls-based, obviously. Ooh, Jareth. I was close. It's Jared, all right? I went to Jared, and then I killed him. Yep, he's dead. Man, Garrus is crushing it. Yeah, recording is not helping the frame rate at all. But hopefully you can get a good sense of the bounce lighting that you actually get. Like, look how much extra light is being bounced around from the RT. So this is off, this is on, and that's actually one of the biggest things I didn't quite expect is you actually get increased visibility in many scenes because it's bouncing light around. And so it can actually balance out some of the darker parts of the image that I found to be a little bit too contrasty. But here you can see it's actually picking up on the red that's being displayed over there. And so it's not 100% perspective correct, because of course in this case, that wall is very far away. So should it be bouncing that light as much as it is? Probably not. I don't know. I guess I accept those little trade-offs because I think the benefits are so worth it. Like, look at Garrus. So this is off and this is on. He gets a whole bounce of light from this floor, and you can actually see Garrus better than you could before. And even my little sniper rifle gets a bounce of light on the side of it. And the couch gets a bounce of light. So you're getting more visibility by having ray tracing on, which is sort of just, I don't know, really cool. I didn't expect that. Oh, I have the sound turned off, don't I? Well, okay. Well, I went this far in the video, so I can't turn it on now. Let's go to Mass Effect 3. Oh, look at that. I was in the middle of some random Mars mission. God, I love this mission. But yeah, let's show a little bit of before and after now that we have a break from fighting. And so here you can see, of course, it's bouncing a little bit of the red light around the scene, but we're also getting nice RT reflections. Very subtle. I set the roughness cutoff just so that you get a little bit of it, but of course it's not going to be like super reflective. Oh my god, I forgot. Okay, hold on. I forgot that it fucks up the look of it. Okay, so let's go into photo mode, and then now we can open the menu without completely demolishing the camera. So here is the launchpad settings. So immersed launchpad is basically the first thing that you activate. This is all set up, of course, when you download my preset, but here it actually controls. You can do smooth normals versus not smooth normals. Whoop, my mouse was... and so you won't notice a ton of difference. You can notice a little seam here with a normal map, but basically on things that are not super geometrically dense, the smooth normals will basically obviously smooth it out to where it looks better. It's not going to be massively noticeable until you find an edge case where you're like, oh shit, that looks bad. But here's the actual RTGI settings, so you can actually change the ambient occlusion to be higher if you want there to be more AO, if you want there to be less. So I've been trying to balance it. You can boost the bounce lighting even more if you so please. And so now you can see there's actually more light bouncing around. So I tended to set that around 5. There's Z thickness. Now each game handles all of these settings differently. So that's actually been like the biggest fun part, is I kind of had to go through in the denoiser and then the ambient level. And you just try to balance the image where you get the lighting without artifacting. That's essentially, I'm just trying to avoid artifacting. But yeah, here's another instance of bounce lighting. Like, just look at this red bounce lighting. It's so good. It's just adding more dynamism to the scene and more color, and it looks fantastic. And then this actual box here gets slightly reflected here. And then in these dark regions, you're actually getting a little bit more visibility, just a bit, because it's actually bouncing that red light around the scene. Here's another instance. And so yeah, you can see it's being reflected a little bit on the metal here from how the light is hitting this directly. But yeah, I love the specular reflections that you can get using this shader. And it doesn't work in all games. It works really well on futuristic metallic surfaces and whatnot that should be reflective. It's not good if everything is like stone or brick or grass or like that. That's just not going to be a good way to do it. But as you can see, me panning the camera around, even without 60 FPS, it actually does a fantastic job of not making it super obvious that it's screen space, right? I'd argue this is actually really fucking good. This is what set this shader aside from the other like free ones I've been trying to use or get to work. This one handles the screen space better than any shader I've ever seen. And so you get this really good, like, look at this. We should be seeing like huge monstrous differences because it's screen space, but look how it's handling the bounce lighting. You can notice it disappear a little bit here, but honestly, it's super not noticeable, at least for me. I don't find it majorly distracting. And even looking outside, you can see it actually is bouncing light outside. And then Shepard's face gets a bounce of light. Oh, now you can see on her face, you can see, I think, the geometric edges on her face. What if I can get close to Kaidan? let's see, how close can I get? So this is where the smooth normals, let's check out that feature. So if you go up here, yeah, so basically the smooth normals right here, it's picking up on a little geometric wonkery. It's not a word, I don't think. But if you do smooth normals, it actually smooths that out. Now you do lose frame rate. I lose about 16 FPS doing smooth normals. So like, it's not great. Now, if you actually hover over it, it'll say, it filters the normal buffer to reduce low poly look in MXAO and RTGI. They depend on normal vectors, which describe the orientation of geometry in the scene. As Reshade does not have access to this game's own normals, they are generated from the depth buffer instead. However, this process is lossy and does not contain normal maps and smoothing groups. As a result, they represent the true blocky object shapes and lighting calculated using them that can make the low poly appearance of geometry apparent. So, yeah, if you ever want like tooltips, you can read a lot of that stuff. But you do lose frame rate. It depends on the game, whether like how hard it is, but I would say this looks fucking fantastic. Like, I think the games look amazing even without this RTGI, but like, honestly, I wish they would have done some sort of RT implementation for Mass Effect, because it's perfectly made up for it. It's so good. It's at Mass Effect RTX on Nexus mods. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There are install instructions, of course, for the mod, and we have images. I also have a Patreon that you can subscribe to. This mod is not really included in that because it's literally like 10 kilobytes in terms of size, so you don't need a Google Drive link for that. But of course, Patreon helps me develop mods, my Souls mods, and you get ad-free versions of videos like this, so at least there you don't need to watch ads on a 40-minute video, which is ridiculous that this has been 40 minutes. But I love Mass Effect with my whole ass heart, and my whole ass as well. So my whole ass and whole ass heart, and so it was an excuse to talk about it. And you can expect more of these videos on different games that I want to apply this to, because I think it is just a wonderful benefit to older games that didn't have as complex lighting setups, basically. I'd also just like to showcase more mods in general that are not necessarily mine, because there's plenty of amazing people making mods that are cooler than mine, so I don't see why I wouldn't do that, really, right? So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!